Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us tonight for the Cambridge Rethink Essay Competition Writing Workshop for 2025. My name is Oliver. I'm going to be leading you guys through this workshop today. Okay, so just to begin, a little overview of what this competition is about. The overarching aim of our essay competition here is really to encourage students like yourselves towards discussion, debate, and analysis. We've worked together with our partnered faculty. They come from MIT, Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford, to come up with a set of really, really interesting questions for you guys. And the goal here is to provide you guys with an opportunity to broaden your understanding as well as our collective understanding of the world and generate innovative solutions to contemporary challenges. So as you'll see when you go through the prompts that we have, these are all sort of pressing issues that really concern all of us today as citizens and as human beings in the world. Very, very quickly, let's also just talk a little bit about when and who this competition is for. The submission deadline is coming up. We still have a little while to go, but the submission deadline is going to be May 10th, 2025. Results are going to be announced in just 16 days. We're going to go through those essays real fast on May 26th, 2025. We will be holding a hybrid award ceremony and dinner at the University of Cambridge on the 30th of July. This is going to be something that you guys are all invited to attend. The winners are going to be invited to attend. However, we will not be covering accommodation and airfare or travel expenses for you guys. However, for the winners of the competition, for the shortlisted students as well, shortlisted students as well as the winners will get invitations. The winners will in fact get the dinner entry for free. The competition is open to here we say students age 14 to 18 who have yet to commence undergraduate studies. We've gotten a few emails from students who are on, let's say, their gap year, who are 19, who are slightly older. That's perfectly fine as well. So long as you have not yet commenced your undergraduate studies, this is available to you. Furthermore, this is a free entry competition, so you don't have to pay at all. You simply go to our website, sign up, and you are eligible to participate. The 2025 essay prompts are contributed by our distinguished faculty here at CCIR, the same faculty who work with us at the CCIR Academy, from famous institutions such as Oxford, Cambridge, MIT, UChicago, Harvard, and UC Berkeley. The award winners will be invited to attend the award ceremony and dinner at King's College, University of Cambridge. I was there hosting the event last year. It was on July 30th last year as well. The hall was designed by William Wilkins in 1820, and it's considered one of the most magnificent halls of its era. We'll be hosting sort of a traditional high table dinner there. It's a really wonderful opportunity if you're able to attend. That being said, you do kind of have to plan your summer around it. This is why we try to push out the results as soon as we can. Students who aren't able to attend in person will be also available to join in a hybrid format. Obviously, that's not quite the same as being there in person. Furthermore, on the same day, our 2025 event, we will this year be inviting Dr. Thomas R. Check, Distinguished Professor from the Department of Biochemistry at the University of Colorado, to give a speech for our students. Dr. Thomas Check is the Nobel Prize winner in chemistry in 1989. He won this for the discovery of catalytic properties of RNA. This is super, super exciting. He's the president of the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. He is a spectacular speaker, a wonderful communicator of public science. He'll be there interacting with our students. Once again, this is just a really, really special opportunity, and it's going to be available for the winners of this competition. So here are just a couple of photos from last year's event. Up here are the prize winners for last year. There were, I think I'm right here in the corner there. You don't get to see me. But if you guys actually end up joining this year, I will be there too as well. So for the essay competition, just a little bit more backdrop, we will have roughly 4 different tiers of awards. Roughly 10% of our global participants will be shortlisted for an honorable mention. These students will receive a digital certificate recognizing their honorable mention, as well as invitations to the award ceremony and dinner at the University of Cambridge. All students who participate will get a certificate of participation issued by CCIR, but only 10% of the students, and last year we had roughly, I think, over 2,000, if not 3,000 submissions. So roughly 300 of the students got honorable mentions. But 10% of our global participants this year will be receiving some form of honorable mention. A much smaller number of students will be receiving our actual awards. Here we have 33 awards. We have 3 special awards that I'll talk about in just a second, but we'll have 10 global recipients for the gold reward. The gold reward will include $150 in cash and $500 towards a CCIR program scholarship. With that, you'll be able to attend CCIR's program at an additional sort of scholarship discount. You'll also be invited for a feature interview on the CCIR podcast and website. You'll be invited to the award ceremony and dinner at the University of Cambridge free of charge. The silver award is pretty similar, with the exception that here you get $100 in a cash award and $300 towards your CCIR Academy scholarship. Your scholarship, once again, is going towards one of the 2 CCIR programs, which if you haven't checked out already, I encourage you guys to do so. These are our highly intensive online research mentorship programs that we offer over at the Academy. You can find more information about that on our website. Once again, silver recipients will also get podcast interviews as well as invitations to the event. Next up will be 10 global recipients for the bronze prize. Here you will receive $250 in cash as well as $200 in CCIR Academy scholarships. Once again, you will be invited back to an interview, an invitation to the award ceremony and dinner as well. We will have 3 further special prizes for the event. These are named after the 3 classical rhetorical categories in ancient Greek. They are the Logos Prize for Best Argument, the Pathos Prize for Best Writing, and the Ethos Prize for Best Research. Each of these winners is an equivalent to another sort of gold prize standard. Winners will receive $150 of cash, as well as $500 in CCIR scholarship, digital award certificates, invitations to feature on an interview, as well as invitation to the aforementioned events. Very broadly, these 3 categories, which will also reflect a little bit on what we're going to talk about next, which is what we're looking for in a good essay. But these are going to be 3 essays that shine in 3 separate categories. In particular, the Logos Prize is going to be given out for the student who, the essay that is most logically and rationally rigorous. These will be sort of the most rationally, logically, and philosophically compelling of all the essays that we find submitted. Pathos is typically understood as the capacity to work with an appeal to the emotion, an ability to spark sympathy, empathy, or passion. So accordingly, this prize will be awarded to the essay which is deemed by the judges to be the most emotionally, aesthetically, and artistically compelling. Think of it as just the best written essay. Finally, the Ethos Prize for Best Research is going to be the sort of most well-grounded of these papers. This is going to be awarded to the essay that is deemed by the judge to be the most thoroughly researched and well-grounded in the existing academic literature. One thing that I'll quickly mention here is that for all of our different essay categories, we do have attached reading lists. None of that is required reading for you, but we do encourage students to do outside research. All of these questions that we're exploring are questions on which other people have thought before, and looking at what other people have written about it is a great way to get inspiration. It's a great way to bolster and deepen your own writing as well. So let me say a little bit about the judging criteria. So I mentioned earlier that these three broad criteria are already things we're looking for, right? So we're looking for rational, logically, and philosophically compelling essays. We're looking for emotionally, aesthetically, and artistically compelling essays. Finally, we're also looking for essays that are going to be well-grounded in the existing academic literature, or just in the literature more broadly. If you're well-read, if you have a bunch of sources, that's going to count towards the quality and value of your essay. Now, the judging process is going to be double blind. This means that the identity of the authors are going to be kept confidential from the reviewers as well as vice versa. So you're not going to be able to know who the reviewers are. However, these are going to be graduate students and PhD students in the early stages as well as faculty in the later stages. Broadly speaking, we're looking for original and interesting ideas. We are hoping to get you guys to contemplate and reassess the interconnections between science, society, and the global environment. We are here looking for original thinking and original perspectives, creative thinking and creative perspectives. We are looking for a high quality of argumentation and writing. Essays should be well structured. It should be clear, with each claim or argument being supported by evidence and logical reasoning. Furthermore, we will be considering the style of your writing, which will include things like language use, idea flow, and overall engagement with the topic. One thing that I should mention here is that plagiarism and AI assistant is something that we will robustly check against. Any indication of using an AI writing tool will amount to automatic disqualification. So if you are in doubt, let's say you're using just a little bit of the AI tool, my recommendation is just don't do it at all. We are all very, very familiar with what ChatGPT's language sounds like. Furthermore, we're also going to run it through an AI detector, but beyond just the AI detector, there is a familiar sound of what AI sounds like to us, and and any indication of that will amount to automatic disqualification. Furthermore, we do, Saya, we're going to do Q&As towards the very end, so all the Q&As do hold on towards the very end. Thanks. For plagiarism, we require all the sources that you use to be well cited. For the citation, we simply require that you use a clear and consistent formatting that is going to be able to pass through a plagiarism detector. We will run all the essays through a plagiarism detector, so a plagiarized essay will be caught. Do not plagiarize, do not use AI assistants. We will disqualify you if we find out. So I'm going to briefly talk about some of the prompts today. I won't dwell on them all because there are, I think 10 or 15 of them. But very broadly, I just want to go over some of the sort of big themes of this year. So Dr. Michelle Malik from Harvard University contributed a prompt that asks, is globalization good for the world? This is a question that can be tackled from numerous perspectives, right? So you can argue that it is a force for good, and there's also a question of good for whom, right? So there's a lot to be thinking about. This is a question that can bear into political philosophy, sociology, political science, government, and much, much more. Dr. Victoria Fendel brought up a equally interesting topic concerning the concept of cancel culture. Her question is the concept of cancel culture a legitimate way to hold individuals accountable, or does it stifle free expression and promote intolerance? Dr. Victoria Fendel is a faculty of the classics at the University of Oxford. And it's interesting to note that Victoria actually makes a connection here between sort of present day cancel culture as well to sort of pre-modern civilization practices as well. Renzi, I will be addressing questions towards the very end of the presentation. Thank you. Dr. Joaquin Terrones from Massachusetts Institute of Technology asked a question concerning that presses on a lot of us, concerning algorithmic bias and opacity. All right, so machine learning tools are increasingly used in realms like law, healthcare, and finance. There are all sorts of worries about racism, sexism, and so on being built into these sorts of technologies. The question here concerns how it's a sort of philosophy of technology, as well as more of just like an applied ethics kind of question of how we deal with these problems of algorithmic bias and opacity. Dr. Hande Guzel is asking a question concerning space exploration and governance. As a sociologist, she wants to ask, how are we going to prepare for the era of space colonization? For her, the key consideration in this question is going to concern who would benefit from the colonization of space, whether there will be new forms of inequalities, and what global governance would amount to in this new era. Dr. Marquita Landry from University of California in Berkeley is asking an old question, but a great question concerning genetic modification. Her question is genetic modification a valuable bioengineering tool or an unethical way to change our natural world? So she's going to be thinking about sort of more cutting edge technologies here, including things like CRISPR, and sort of the implications this potentially has for eugenics and beyond. Dr. Hakan Koskun from Harvard University contributed a prompt concerning animal rights. His question is, should we prioritize animal rights to the extent that we eliminate all forms of animal agriculture? So this is a question concerning animal ethics, as well as sort of broader questions about economics and human food needs and welfare. Dr. Nama Kanarek from Harvard University is asking a question about vaccination. So this is just coming right out of COVID-19. The question is it ethical to force individuals to be vaccinated for the greater good, or does this violate personal autonomy and bodily rights? So she has a little commentary here concerning sort of how communities are differentially impacted due to patterns of immunization. Dr. Carl Muth from the University of Chicago is asking a really, really provocative question about the legalization of all drugs. His question concerns, should all drugs be legalized, or would such a process lead to a more just, and healthy society? Against the background of the current fentanyl crisis, these are some serious, serious questions. So those are roughly the 8 questions that we will be looking for responses to this year. What are we looking for in a good essay? Well, to begin, a good essay is going to have a thesis. This is something that pretty much can oftentimes be a sort of cutoff point for a lot of students, where we read an essay and we don't even know what the stance of the essay is. Being able to come out clearly with a clear and compelling thesis or main idea that is stated right at the outset of the introduction, that tells us what this essay is about, what you're going to argue, is going to be essential for the success of your essay. From there, you're going to dive into your analysis and your argument to support the argument that is driving your thesis home, right? So you're going to have a thesis, and you're going to have sort of arguments that defend your thesis. Throughout your paper, you want a well-organized structure with logical flows of ideas guiding the reader through a coherent and engaging narrative, right? You don't want the thing to be all over the place. You don't want the argument to be hard to follow. You want the sort of argument to proceed lockstep, A, B, C. B follows from A, C follows from B. You can see a clear logical flow of ideas that guides the reader through the process. Furthermore, we expect a mastery of language, employing precise and powerful words to convey your message effectively, right? So word choice, thinking about effective imagery, these are all going to be things that help you articulate your thinking more effectively to your audience. Finally, what we want is you to sort of really be thinking about these are big picture questions that require sort of big picture thinking. We want to walk away from a good essay having an impression of having read some insightful conclusions that reflect on the broader significance of the topic that you are engaging with, right? We want to feel like we've learned something, that you've transmitted some important insight that is original and interesting to a highly, highly complex debate. So in terms of the quality of writing and argument, once again, we're looking for clear writing, well-supported arguments, right? So well-structured arguments where each claim and argument is being supported by evidence and logical reasoning. We want original and interesting ideas. We don't want to just per se hear the same old arguments being run over again and again. If you're able to find a new angle, find a new idea, a new insight, or express an old idea in a more effective way, that's really going to set your essay apart. All right. The competition aims to motivate students to reassess, contemplate, critically consider these sort of complex debates and interconnections between society, science, and the global environment. So we're looking for originality. We're looking for genuine moments and forms of insight. Finally, formatting, structure, and presentation are going to be crucial for your essay for readability and clarity, right? So for formatting details, I encourage you guys to go see the guideline on the website as well as the essay competition guide. There are detailed formatting guidelines there. Follow the guidelines. We won't automatically disqualify a paper that has wandered away from the guidelines. But once again, we do encourage you guys to follow it as closely as possible. The further you stray, the sort of more it's going to harm your final assessment, right? And if you end up giving us a format that is illegible, that's super confused, that might end up really seriously hurting your essay. Some basic guidelines here. We are not looking for you to write a book or a novel, right? So we don't want your essay to exceed 2,000 words. This is in part just because we're reading thousands and thousands of essays, and we can't have these essays be too long. This word count excludes footnotes and bibliography, so you can have some footnotes. Just don't have a separate essay attached in your footnotes. That's not a way to sort of escape the word count. Footnotes are meant to be additional thoughts in footnotes, not a separate space for writing an entirely separate essay. Use a consistent font format. Don't use Comic Sans. Use something clear and legible, something formal and official. Keep the line spacing to 1.5. For all our submissions, we expect proper citations in the ML8 format. If you don't know how to do that, go on the internet. There are tons of guides there. I won't be talking to you guys about how to do MLA formatting for your citations. All essays must be submitted in the PDF format. And in the PDF document, because you're uploading this through an application, please remove your name, affiliation, or any personal information. This applies also to your essay content itself. Don't have your name in there because we are doing a double-blind review. It won't disqualify you if you forget about this, but it just means that we have to do more work. We have to eliminate your name before we can actually review your paper. Each participant is only allowed to submit one essay. Furthermore, each essay must only address one of the provided essay prompts. Don't address multiple prompts at once. And finally, we expect all essays to be entirely your own work. Co-authorship, collaboration is not permitted. You are allowed to seek advice and discuss topics with others, but no one else should be involved in the actual writing of your essay. Okay, so the essay deadline is going to be May 10th, result announcement May 26th. The award ceremony is going to be July 30th. If you have questions about the essay competition, feel free to reach us at outreach@cambridgeresearch.org. I'll also be sharing our Instagram handle here. That's really worth following because we give sort of updates on the latest